Our next chapter sees the showcase spotlight shine on an area in which the family built their legacy: tag team wrestling. Starting with the wild Samoans, Afa and Sika, all the way through to more recent champions like the Usos or Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa. This dynasty has always excelled in tag team competition, consistently showing an ability to dominate the division with a wide variety of looks. And the first team that we will look at, accompanied to the ring by Afa himself.
Fatu and Samu, the Headshrinkers.
They put the fear in people's hearts. That's what the Headshrinkers did back in the day. Second to none in that ring. You know, hard-nosed, battle-tested. They went for it every single night.
More astute fans may also know that early in their journeys, Samu and Fatu were managed by me, Paul Heyman, then known as
Paul E. Dangerously,
and the SST, the Samoan SWAT team.
the Samoan SWAT team is here. Vengeance is mine.
Already an imposing force that early on, their future greatness was obvious to so many industry experts. Afa, more than anybody, knew he had the team on his hands, with Samu being his son and Fatu his nephew. The tribal elder was able to mentor both, instilling in them the same unrelenting approach to competition that made the wild Samoans world famous. The team toured through regional promotions before a quick stop with me in WCW, but WWE was always their goal.
The Headshrinkers are coming.
Upon arrival, it was clear that the dynasty's next generation had indeed arrived, immediately drawing comparisons to their world-renowned predecessors. 10 years before it became cool to say, Samu and Fatu displayed ruthless aggression in the ring, overwhelming opponents before the bell and continuing the non-stop attack until their hands were raised in victory. Deceptively agile for men of their size, they brutalized the opposition with devastating dives from the top rope. The duo would eventually go on to capture the WWE Tag Team Championships in the spring of 1994, fulfilling the promise and carrying the legacy to even greater heights. At WrestleMania 9, the Headshrinkers' one and only in-ring WrestleMania appearance saw them taking on Rick and Scott, the Steiner Brothers.
Be prepared, Steiner Brothers. We're gonna give you a pain that you have never felt before.
While I'm not one to make excuses, I am one to give opportunities to you, our expert gaming member of the WWE Universe. And so, today, you have the opportunity to make things right. WrestleMania 9, Las Vegas, Nevada. The Steiners performed at a near-perfect level that day, able to find every reversal and in the chaos emerge victorious. We are asking you to fix that, stop them in their tracks, and get the Headshrinkers that WrestleMania victory you and I both know they deserve. But if you're not careful, you're going to find yourself reliving the very same memories that have haunted Samu and Fatu for years. Steiner lines, suplexes, Frankensteiners that will all bring your evening to a vicious, miserable end.
One of the toughest teams in WWE history. Nearly 600 pounds.
Well, Heyman, thank you very much for that introduction to the Headshrinkers. Makes life so much easier because I don't have to go into their history. But no, the Steiner Brothers, as mentioned, were tremendous athletes in their own rights as well. Multi-time tag team champions, a handful of singles championships while the team was in WCW. Scott Steiner specifically had a couple of good singles runs in WWE. Rick, not so much to the best of my knowledge, but I could be wrong. Unfortunately, I only know Scott Steiner from his infamous Steiner Math promo. If you don't know what that is, I'm going to link that sucker in the description because that needs to be seen. That needs to be experienced by everyone. Not necessarily one of those things, oh my gosh, it's so cursed, but it's just so ridiculous and over the top that it needs to be experienced. It's much easier seen rather than explained. But it's a good promo nonetheless. But yeah, I do find it kind of not really. It's kind of weird. Like when they came in, you saw like the live footage. You saw his Letterman jacket from I want to say University of Michigan. The Wolverines. It was kind of cool. I mean, sucks they had to blur it out, but anything to save a couple bucks here and there. Even though they're blurring out the WWF logo, but that's a whole different story. That's because that's a whole legal thing. They have to do that. Because, in case you're seeing this and you don't know, I guess, they apparently they had a they had an issue with the World Wildlife Fund, who was also using the acronym WWF and had been using it for a lot longer than they had. On top of that, there was a handful of controversies that came out with it during like 97 to about 2002. Basically, the Attitude Era kind of cost the acronym, and they kind of slowly went away from the Attitude Era-esque stuff and were slowly trying to get more entertainment value in it. With that, they decided they're going to rebrand after the lawsuit. And yeah, they just ended up rebranding, went to WWE, launched a whole Get the F Out campaign, which was pretty funny, which resulted in a handful of wrestlers being the last ever WWF champions and being the first ever WWE champions. So, off the top of my head, I know Billy and Chuck, and a gimmick that would not work today. Well, no, it would not work today. Just because, I think, just because of how people can be, it wouldn't work today. But they were like the last ever, I want to say WWF Tag Team Champions, but the first ever WWE Tag Team Champions. Just kind of a cool, useless fact, but that's the only one I know off the top of my head, but I'm sure I could look into it, but who's got that kind of time? Anywho, to make mention real quick, I know I mentioned it in my most recent Sonic video, episode 3, that I lost the original recording of this. I had the match done, but not the audio, which was a positive note. So, one thing I am going to let you all know is that there is a handful of timed objectives in this showcase where you have to do a certain combination of things within a certain time limit, which is not an issue, but it can be difficult at times. So in a way, I messed one timing event up, but because I'd already unlocked everything, I just decided, forget it, no need to worry about it, plus it doesn't activate a cutscene type of thing, so in a way it didn't bother me. But on to WrestleMania 9, this particular event was, I don't necessarily want to say it was mediocre. I never watched it, mostly because, well...
And there goes Steiner sent outside the ring. Fatu like a one-man wrecking machine right now, cleaning house. Oh, look at this, the power by Scott Steiner. But the tag was made and Scott not aware. Big kick. Scott Steiner did not see the blind tag made by Samu. Oh, this is not looking good for Steiner. And this is what the Headshrinkers do.
Yeah, no, like I was saying, WrestleMania 9 didn't really watch, mostly because there was not really a match that had interested me, but that's just me. But like, obviously this is one of those. In actuality, the Steiners won the match, not the Headshrinkers. Even though according to Heyman they should have won. Hey, it's not the way the booker wrote it. But no, on top of that, I do want to say I am recording all this audio once again on opening week for you baseball fans out there. And shout out the Miami Marlins for knocking 3 walk-off wins for their first 3 wins of the season and winning the series with the Pirates. It's good for them. Unfortunately, the Cincinnati Reds didn't do too well their opening series against San Francisco, but at least they put up a fight. And the Seattle Mariners went 50-50 against the Athletics because they're no longer in Oakland. Well, that's going to age this video. Anywho. No, but yeah, Samu, for the most part, I don't really think did much after this whole thing. I know, like I mentioned, the Samoan SWAT team, they're not even a tag team anymore, but they were. Oh, no. Oh, the Samoan SWAT team, yeah, no, they're still... Okay, so it's still running around in MLW. But... okay. Still running around with MLW, because I know for a while, Jacob Fatu was in MLW before coming to WWE, and he ran around with Contra and became the longest reigning MLW heavyweight champion, well, during COVID. So I always will put sort of an asterisk by any reign with COVID. So like a lot of the WWE NXT UK reigns and a handful of independent wrestling reigns kind of have asterisks by it, in my eyes. Like, not that they're tainted reigns, they're reigns nonetheless. They legitimately defended the titles before COVID and after COVID, but when they were on hiatus they kept it going. So it's kind of like, yes, that person was recognized as champion for 6, 7, 8, 900 plus days, but they didn't defend it for a majority because of COVID. And like the NXT UK people, and to an extent Jacob, I'm not going to fault them for their reigns being that long without defending them because they physically couldn't. So, but I will say the MLW storyline with the Contra just beating the crap out of everyone, taking over the front office and say, yeah, no, we're shutting this place down. No more shows, no more titles, no more nothing. Contra rules. And shut them down. I thought that was great. Kept everything quiet, and then when they were able to start having shows again, conveniently they all get kicked out and are forced to start running shows again. That was great. And then eventually Jacob gets kicked out of Contra, loses the MLW World title to Hammerstone, and kicked out of Contra, becomes a face because Contra was a heel unit, and eventually teams up with Lance Anoa'i and Juicy Finau. Yes, that's his real name. Well, his ring name at least. And And now they were the Samoan SWAT team for a while. Then Fatu joins WWE. Lance is running around Pro Wrestling Noah. I'm not sure what Juicy's doing. He might still be in MLW / Noah. But I could not think of the thing. I could not think of it for. Although I heard a rumor that Lance had signed a while back, signing up for NXT. So, and we'll see how long it takes him to join the Bloodline. Man, I'm not gonna lie. New Japan has gotta figure out what the heck they're doing with Hikuleo, or kind of let him walk, because he's disappeared since June, which is making me think he's not under contract with them, or he's in some kind of contract limbo with them. And it's only, but if he's in some contract limbo, it's only a matter of time, I think, before he ends up in Solo's Bloodline faction with his brothers Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa, which I'm kind of glad they were here. I remember distinctly freaking out when they all showed up. So yeah, Jacob I freaked out for, Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa I did freak out for. Not in like just really, oh my gosh, they're here. And yep, that takes care of that. Match is done. So now with this, I just got Sonic Colors number 4, and I'm caught up with all my failed audios. That being said, I will catch you next time, where with this series we'll be taking on the next challenge, which I believe is Rocky Maivia against Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Catch you then, or see you during Sonic Colors.